Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving headfirst into the often confusing, occasionally infuriating, and always fascinating world of international relations. Buckle up, because we're about to unpack something truly wild: the top 10 countries that support the UK. But international diplomacy is a fickle mistress, and even former empires with a penchant for colonization can have a few besties sprinkled around the globe. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. Kicking off our list at number 10 is the Netherlands. Known for its canals, bicycles, and a surprisingly liberal approach to certain recreational activities, the Netherlands also happens to have a long and storied relationship with the UK. We're talking centuries of maritime rivalry, the occasional war, looking at you, Anglo-Dutch wars. And let's not forget the whole New Amsterdam becoming New York thing. But hey, water under the bridge, right? These days, the Netherlands and the UK are thick as thieves. They're major trading partners, they collaborate on international issues, and they both seem to share a fondness for incredibly awkward royal families. So, congrats Netherlands, you've officially made it onto the UK's mates list. Coming in at number 9, it's the land of Guinness, Gaelic football, and a shared history with the UK that's more tangled than a plate of bangers and mash after a few pints. Yes, we're talking about Ireland. Now this one is a bit awkward, isn't it? I mean, the relationship between these two has involved centuries of conflict, colonization, and enough political baggage to fill the cliffs of Moher. But, in a testament to the human capacity for forgiveness, or at least begrudging tolerance, Ireland and the UK have managed to forge a surprisingly close bond in recent decades. They're major economic partners, their people move freely between both countries, and they even occasionally cooperate on things like, not blowing each other up. It's a work in progress, sure, but for now, let's just say that Ireland and the UK are at that stage of the relationship where they can share a meal without throwing potatoes at each other. At number 8, we've got India, a country with a history so vast and a culture so vibrant it makes the UK look like a damp tea bag in comparison. Now this is another one of those relationships built on a foundation that's, shall we say, a tad shaky. For centuries, India was the crown jewel of the British Empire, a relationship that, let's be honest, was more about exploitation than mutual benefit. But fast forward to today, and things are looking a bit different. India is a global powerhouse in its own right, with a booming economy and a population that dwarfs the UK's many times over. Despite the complexities of the past, India and the UK have managed to build a surprisingly robust partnership. They're major trading partners, they collaborate on everything from defence to climate change, and they even share a language, albeit one that the British seem to mangle at every opportunity. Coming in at number 7 is Japan, a country that's gone from being a feudal society to a technological powerhouse faster than you can say bullet train. Now, on the surface, Japan and the UK might seem like an odd couple. One is an island nation obsessed with tea and tradition, the other is an island nation obsessed with, well, also tea, but with a side of robots and anime. But beneath those cultural quirks lies a deep and abiding respect. Both countries are constitutional monarchies, they share a love of good craftsmanship, and they both know what it's like to be constantly overshadowed by a larger, louder neighbour. These days, Japan and the UK are strategic partners, collaborating on everything from defence to trade to presumably perfecting the art of the perfectly brewed cuppa. Ah, France, the land of wine, cheese, and a certain je ne sais quoi that drives the British absolutely bonkers. At number 6 on our list, France and the UK have a relationship that can best be described as it's complicated. For centuries, these two were locked in a bitter rivalry, battling it out for control of Europe, colonies, and of course, culinary bragging rights. But like a couple that just can't seem to quit each other, France and the UK have somehow managed to build a partnership that's as enduring as it is baffling. They're both major players on the world stage. They cooperate on everything from defense to nuclear energy, and they even share a tunnel. It's a love-hate relationship for the ages, fueled by a shared history, a healthy dose of competition, and just maybe a grudging acknowledgement that they're better together than they are apart. Coming in at the halfway point at number 5 is Germany, a country that knows a thing or two about complicated relationships with the UK. After all, these two have a bit of a history. And by a bit of a history, I mean they spent a good chunk of the 20th century trying to blow each other to smithereens. But hey, it's all water under the bridge now, right? These days, Germany and the UK are about as close as two countries can be without actually sharing a language that anyone else understands. They're both economic powerhouses, they're key members of the EU, well, at least one of them was, and they're both staunch allies in NATO. It's a testament to the healing power of time, diplomacy, and perhaps most importantly, the realization that it's much easier to sell cars and beer to each other when you're not actively engaged in global warfare. At number 4, we've got New Zealand, a country so breathtakingly beautiful, it makes you wonder if someone just cranked the scenery slider all the way up in real life. But New Zealand isn't just a pretty face. It's also one of the UK's staunchest allies, a friendship forged through shared history, a love of rugby, and a healthy dose of good-natured ribbing. New Zealand and the UK go way back, like all the way back to when the British decided to claim this little slice of paradise for themselves. And while the history of colonisation is, as always, fraught with its own set of issues, New Zealand and the UK have managed to build a relationship based on mutual respect, shared values, and of course, a love of tea that borders on the obsessive. Coming in hot at number 3 is Australia, a land of sunshine surfing and a love-hate relationship with the UK that's more dramatic than an episode of Neighbours. Seriously, these two are like siblings who are constantly bickering but would defend each other to the death if anyone else dared to criticise them. It all started back in the day when the British decided that Australia would make a lovely holiday home for, shall we say, colourful characters who weren't quite fitting in back in the motherland. But beneath all the banter and the occasional sheep-related prank, there's a deep bond between these two island nations. They share a language, sort of a queen for now, and a love of a good cuppa, though the Aussies might argue that theirs is brewed with a bit more sunshine. Sliding into the number 2 spot with a polite excuse me and a plate of poutine is Canada, a country so unfailingly nice, it's almost suspicious. Seriously, have you ever met a Canadian who wasn't utterly charming? It's like they're genetically engineered to be delightful, but don't let the politeness fool you. Canada is no pushover. This is a country that knows how to stand its ground, whether it's on the hockey rink or the world stage. And when it comes to supporting the UK, Canada is always there. Like a loyal Labrador retriever ready to lend a paw in times of need, Canada and the UK have managed to build a relationship based on mutual respect, shared values, mostly, and a love of all things monarchy. And finally, at the top of our list, it's the one and only the United States of America. Now, this one probably comes as no surprise. After all, the UK and the US have what can only be described as a special relationship. A term that's both endearing and vaguely unsettling, like finding out your grandparents have a secret handshake. This is a relationship that's been forged through centuries of shared history, from revolution and war to cultural exchange, and of course an unhealthy obsession with reality TV. They're each other's biggest trading partner. They collaborate on everything from intelligence sharing to military operations, and they even share a language. But like any good power couple, the UK and the US have their fair share of disagreements. But at the end of the day, they always seem to find their way back to each other, like a pair of old marrieds who just can't stay mad for long. So there you have it, the top 10 countries that support the UK. It's a motley crew, to be sure, full of historical baggage, complicated alliances, and the occasional sheep-related prank. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content.